Hey guys, it's your host Kay Did come back out to you one more time. So this week is also another bonus week. I'm sorry we don't have a story for you. We'll be having them coming on the following Wednesdays. So right now we are hiring, a new fellow. The criteria for the fellow, some of the criteria I should say, I will give you two. That the person is Spanish, who speaks Spanish and also speaks English. Also that they were in a family shelter with a child under 18. They could be in a shelter now, it doesn't matter. Long you're formerly homeless or homeless with a child under 18 in a shelter, because the Family Homeless Coalition is the people who are over this, and it's really families with children under 18. So that's what we're really specifying with this particular hiring. So, I'm one of the fellows. Lorden, which does the Spanish podcast, is one of the fellows. And we have another person named Rhonda. We have not heard her voice on here yet. But maybe on one of the... We done no, you haven't. One of our other fellows that we had on before, as you may remember, is Destiny. She was on one of the panelists that we had before. So, but right now we have 3 cohorts. We're looking for one more person to fill that spot. And we're also that you can do social media, so you can help with the podcast, you can help with other endeavors that we have and other projects that we work on in the year. And we'll just like somebody to add to our team at the moment. But also, if you want to meet Rhonda, also we had a PSA. It's called Portraits of Hope. The link will be down below. And it showed you a little bit how it followed the stories of women. One husband was actually in that video. And the video kind of shows you how moms, how they were in the shelter and the experience in the shelter, and how some people ended up in the positions that they are in. As you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about people in shelter, that they're lazy, they don't like to work, they just want to live up the system. But a lot of people in a shelter, if you know the high percentage of people in a shelter, in family shelter I should say, because I have the most statistics for that, right, are city workers. They're working for the city, but they're not getting paid enough to be able to survive in the city that they work in. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's kind of crazy that they have to be on government assistance or be helped by the government in shelter to be able to survive and get vouchers and things like that. And some people are in shelter, but they can't even get a voucher because they work too much. Did you know that voucher... So if you don't know what a voucher is, let me try to break it down as much as I can, right? A voucher is something that helps you pay for your rent. So they'll pay a part of your rent, which is... and then you pay 30% of your income towards the amount, right? And we're also going to be having, I don't want to forget this, we're going to be having a City FEPS updated version of it. People ask me a lot of questions on my particular YouTube page. So I think I'm going to take all the questions from my YouTube page and put it in a new podcast video. We should be doing that with Juan soon, so just be on the lookout for that. We have a lot of exciting things that we want to do. So yes, if you have any ideas also, please check us out. Sorry, let me continue. So a voucher basically pays your rent for the place that you are living in, right? So some people are in shelters who do qualify for the vouchers. They have the City FEPS voucher. They have FEPS that's for the community, but for the shelter they have soda. They have I think it's Home to Stay. I forgot. It's 2 more other ones. Not like a voucher per se. It's more of people who they can move out of. I've done an episode about it before. They can move out of New York, or you can go to your own thing, or go to your family's place and they have to kind of keep you there, kind of thing. So you stay with your family, but they don't pay rent. But the one, if they do here, you can have your living at one of your friends, family, somebody like that, and they'll help you pay the rent. It's a whole bunch of stuff, right? So a lot of people in shelter, not a lot, because right now, if you don't know, we have a migrant situation going on. A lot of migrants are here, who's coming to New York, not just in America in general, but into New York specifically. And so right now, the population used to be that it was we talked about this before in the episode, so just bear with me. It used to be like, it was more, the highest population was blacks, and then Hispanics, and then other, right? But now, because the migrant population, a lot of them are Hispanics. If you don't know, a lot of migrants who are coming in who are not Hispanics also, so just be aware of that. Who are Hispanics, so the Hispanics are more now, and the blacks are in next in line, and then other, right? So a lot of people, I want to say, not counting the migrant population, because that's a different population, because they are seeking asylum, so it's a much different process. A lot of vouchers, no, all the vouchers, unless they have an American child who are even born in, as I said, America, they don't qualify for the vouchers. So that's a different thing all by itself, a kettle of fish, you feel me? So not counting the migrant population, a lot of people in the shelter, not a certain amount, a percentage of people in the shelter can't even get a voucher because they work too much. That's what I'm trying to get down to. Like, not everybody in the shelter is just sitting there being lazy and not doing anything and just not providing and on drugs. Because that's what people think about people in shelter. They think that, oh, we're on drugs, we're being lazy. No, people in shelter who work so much, but not enough. Does that make sense? They work so much money, but they make too much to get a voucher that they have to just basically stay there for a while and save up and then move out. Can you believe that? Like, all they really need is a place to sleep, but they couldn't afford to really pay the rent. But because a situation happened while they couldn't pay the rent at the time, or a fire, or things like that, that's why they're in there. Or DV. DV is the highest group of people. Like, usually like DV families. But, you know, if you don't know what DV is, it's domestic violence. So we also have that number down below. If you're a person who thinks you're in a domestic violence situation, probably if you think it, you probably are. Let's be honest. Like, if the person's hitting you, cursing at you, belittling you, especially in front of your kids, oh my gosh. If they are taking your money and they don't allow you to spend your money, those all are different ways of people abusing you, and it's all considered under domestic violence. So just be aware of that. When we go to PATH, they have the NOVA program, they have New Destiny, they have Safe Horizon. These are different providers. I won't say provide, like, Safe Horizon is a provider. Destiny is a place where, you know, you can go get help and stuff like that. And then PATH is a place where it's basically a HUD information. Like, you know, you go there as a center, and they push you out to the other shelters in New York City. So I want this podcast to be a place that where people feel welcome to tell their stories, and the people who are not used to a certain situation, they can understand and, like, see where that person came from, and see how far they have come in this world, right? Because a lot of people, like, before my personal journey started in shelter, I had some negative, you know, thoughts about shelter, you know, but as I end up in it myself, I realized a lot of things, what was said about shelter is not true. Because I had 2 jobs out of shelter at different times in the shelter. At one point I wasn't working, but when I went initially into shelter, I was working. I was working in the school. Like, I had a job. It wasn't full-time, but it was part-time. But the point is that I had a job. It's very hard. If you don't know, depending on where you're listening this from, we're based in New York City. New York City has very, 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 very high rent. They also have a very, very, very high homeless population. Whether street, family, street can be family too. I'm just saying, we have a very high population of street. We have a high population of families. We have a high population of men and women, and DV. Well, I count it different because that's how we consider each homeless division in New York City. And then one thing what we don't talk about, which I got reminded about this week, is a doubled up situation. People don't think of doubled up as being homeless. Like, example, if you're at somebody's place and your name is out on a lease, you took a leave, you doubled up, that means you're with them in your family's place. That's not really your place. That's not your parents' place. That's considered under homelessness. But because you're not in the shelter, you do not get the benefits of being in the shelter. I know the shelter could be a hot mess. I know the shelter can have roaches. I know the shelter can have rats. But honestly, living in New York City, a lot of places have that. Like, that sounds so bad to say, but it's true. But when you do live in a shelter, I'm not pushing anybody to go in a shelter, because shelter is honestly not for everybody. everybody do different ways of getting these things, right? And getting help they need in their own way. Everybody's path is different. I'm not pushing you to go to shelter. But when you do go in shelter, you do get some things that other people don't get because they have more wraparound services, I would say. I don't know if that's the proper word to say, because honestly, all shelters, family shelters, I should say, are not made the same. But I can honestly say that when you do live in shelter, instead of doubled up, you can get a lot more other things. But if you are in a community and you're doubled up, try to see if you can get a FHC voucher and see if that can help you with your family. FHC is a voucher, right? It's just not city FHC, and the way it comes about is a little bit different, but it's for the community at large. Instead of going into a shelter, you can get it in the community and stuff like that. So just, everything will be down below and it'll be listed. Also, I forgot to tell you, follow us on our social media account. Check us out. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have things like that. So go follow us. And if you do want to get hired, just go in the information down below. And we'd love to have you. This is the last call because the last day is Sunday, but we'll be checking everything on a Monday. So our last call to join our team, join our Family Homeless Coalition team, where we are striving to make sure families in shelters have a better life, to make sure the children in shelters have a better life. A lot of times people don't think about children in the shelter. And there's lots. It's over 30,000. I remember last time. That was like a couple months ago. So with everything happening in New York, as I said earlier, there's even more kids in the shelter. And the shelter is not a place where a child should go. And a lot of these kids are under 5. Like, can you imagine? Those are the very crucial developmental years for a child, and they're in a shelter. So next time when you see a child, you might be passing by, you might think, maybe that child's in the shelter. And people also I think too, that people who are homeless are dirty and nasty. No, we have some fly girls. I'm not gonna say the men, I'm gonna say that because mostly in family shelters, a lot of women more than men. We got a lot of fly girls in shelter. I'm just saying, we got some fly ladies in shelter. So it's not what you just think, oh, people are smelly, dirty. People are on 10, in shelter. But you just can't tell because, we're kind of put away, in a sense. We're put behind closed doors. And, you really don't see how our living situation is. But there's a lot of kids in shelter. There's a lot of moms and dads in shelter. There's a lot of things going on. And I just want to make sure, we get the message out that the stereotype people think it is. I'm not saying that's not true, because there's a little bit of truth in everything. But compared to if it's out of 100%, that might be about 2 or 3% of it that is really pertaining to actual homelessness who are family, So just be mindful with the words you say, how you treat people. It might be a neighbor, sister who's homeless. It might be a co-worker. People don't think that. It might be a family member who's too ashamed to tell you, or I need help, so they went in the shelter. So just be mindful. It could be you one day, because honestly, when you live in New York, unless you got a 200K job, you are literally a paycheck away from being homeless yourself. And it's hard to fend for your family, make sure your family has good food, good clothes, all these things, and pay rent. It's hard to make it. So just don't think about it. Would you want somebody judging you or your family if they was in shelter? So think about it in that position, that people don't want to get judged. They just want to get help and they want to be okay. So thank you for listening to my little rant. Follow us on social media and check us out. Bye. See you next time. Well, see you next week, I should say. We drop a video every week. Well, a podcast every week. So anyway, guys, later. And if also, I'm keeping forgetting. We also have a resource packet that gives you different resources for clothes, food, beds for you and your kids. If you want domestic violence help, it will be linked down below also. So that'll be, in a nutshell, that'll be in our link down below. If you want to talk to me personally, if you just are down or stuff like that, I'm always up on my phone. You can definitely contact me through our actual Instagram, or you could go my personal one, or you could go on the Hear Our Voices one. It comes straight to my phone, so I'll be able to talk to you anytime. I know when you're going through these situations, it's hard, and you feel like you have nobody to talk to, nobody who understands, even though you're in a shelter with anybody who does understand what you're going through, but it's difficult to kind of be with people and talk about the same problem. Plus, you don't want to have any problems going on in the shelter. So I'm available. As we get bigger, I might not be available, but right now, as we're a smaller group, I am available to talk about any things you might have. People ask me all the time questions, and I'm happy to answer. I answer pretty fast, so just check us out, and hopefully stay this far in the video. I'm in the podcast, and thank you for joining our family. Thank you for being amazing. Bye.